What's happening, everyone? It is Mike from the Hardcover Comic here. Today we're going to take a look at the Deathstroke by Christopher Priest Omnibus. I know this has been out for a while, but it's a $200 book in Canada, so I had to pick a good time to get it. It happened to be on sale. I apologize for the reflection of me in the video, but hey, this is the best I can do right now for you guys to see me. Pretty solid dust jacket design, nothing too fancy. I do like the cover. Real quick, I gotta mention organic price books. With the promo code THC2, you'll get an extra $2 off every single one of your orders. Check them out, they're amazing. Love organic price books. Taking a look at the actual book itself, a really nice connecting spine, but also not connecting. Either way, it sort of passes over from one side to the other. You get the full face of Slade Wilson as Deathstroke. Really nice design. I like that DC's been picking up their design game a little bit with at least the books I've been picking up. But getting right into it, there's really no table of contents in this book. You get a list of some of the amazing artists in this book. Carlo Pagulayan, I'm probably messing that up, Fernando Passer, and a whole bunch of other amazing artists we'll get to see and mention throughout the book here as we flip through it. Now, I will admit, I have not read this entire run yet. I read about a quarter of it as it was coming out and sort of fell off as, you know, there was just too much to read, and reading things digitally wasn't vibing for me, so I took a break. But I really do like this run. I do think I need to read more Christopher Priest stuff in general. I think he's a fantastic writer. I love his epic saga on the Black Panther character. Amazing run. So I'm glad. I know Marvel's pushing some of those up. But anyway, we're talking about Deathstroke today. This is a fantastic book, I've got to say. What I've read so far has been thoroughly enjoyable. This sort of gives you moments in Slade's past, his present, and obviously the future as it unfolds in front of everyone's eyes. Slade Wilson's a character who, has always sort of been seen as an anti-hero. He's a mercenary. He works for that dollar, that money bag. And that's where his morals are upheld. He firmly believes in what he does, who he is as a person, as a mercenary as well. There's what's really great. What I really enjoyed a lot about this run is seeing more of the background of Deathstroke. It really reminded me of the Marv Wolfman run in that way, that you get to sort of see the perspective of Slade from a lot of other characters and what they think of him and who he is and what he stands for. You get to see the incredible Wintergreen in this as well, one of the greatest characters. The Alfred to Slade's Deathstroke, to Slade's Batman, fantastic character. If you're unaware of this, Slade Wilson is a man who has born children. He has had multiple kids. A lot of them have been through very difficult lives, having an absentee father who's also a mercenary. But you get to see a lot of them make returns here. Jericho, Rose, both pretty prominent characters in this run. You also get to see some really awesome crossovers with other characters popping in, Superman, Batman, and a whole bunch of other DC heroes that come in to interact with Slade Wilson in one way, shape, or form. There's a pretty extensive story arc with the Flashes as well, and the Teen Titans pop in for some of the Lazarus contract and agenda storylines within this story that had little crossovers. I'm looking at some Carrie Nord artwork now. There's some fantastic issues by Dennis Cohen. Really great. The style does change a little bit within the story arcs, but overall the artwork is consistently fantastic. You get to see a character named Dr. Icon, who I wasn't too aware of before this run. I'm not sure if he's a new character. I probably should have checked before making a video, but hey, this is the hardcover comic. You get to see Slade Wilson rocking a new suit as well. A very cool suit at that. It's got a lot of functions and features. And like I sort of mentioned a couple minutes ago, what's great is that Christopher Priest gives you moments of time in Slade's life in the past, in the present, so you get to see where he's been, where he's going. It can feel a bit disjointed at times, especially over the course of multiple issues where you've got multiple timelines happening and stories within each timeline, but stick with it, keep waiting. Eventually everything clicks into place and makes sense. It's a little discouraging at the start, but really picks up. Christopher Priest has an interesting way of writing. There aren't too many references to, what year you're in now or what time era you're in now, but you get these little sections where it sort of sets the next scene, as it were, for what's coming up. Really, really well done. And it's interesting to see Slade evolve and change as a character. He has this very rough exterior, but you see how some of that impacts him, and getting the sort of feedback and not necessarily narration from Wintergreen, but getting his insights into why Slade is acting the way he is fantastic as well. Getting to see some of the origin stuff with like the name Deathstroke, and some little glimpses into the earlier missions between Deathstroke and Wintergreen are fantastic as well. I really, really enjoyed it for that. This is a monstrous book. It's sitting around, I think, 1,400 pages with, about 10 pages being bonus content. So a lot of reading material here. It does, of course, collect an entire run by Christopher Priest and some crossover issues with Teen Titans. So there's a lot of material in here. It's a relatively expensive book, but it is something that I do believe I'll reread. It's a character that I haven't read that much of, and it's definitely a highlight run in terms of the history of Deathstroke. What I'm really hopeful for is, now that we've seen the Tony Daniel Omnibus and we've seen this Christopher Priest one, that DC will go back in time a little bit, start releasing the Marv Wolfman run in oversized format. Let's talk a little bit about the build of the book itself. It's a gigantic book, as you saw. It took a while before it would stay open on its own, but once it does stay open, and it seems very, very strongly built. So and I'm sure it'll sag sitting on the shelf a little bit, but overall, I don't think the binding is at risk of falling apart in any way, shape, or form. At least not the copy I have with the limited time I've had with it. But it seems very, very well put together. You will get a little bit of gutter loss, unfortunately, but this isn't a run that has an abundance of 2-page spreads, so you won't lose too much in the gutter. You'll just have to know that there's a little bit of neck pain coming as you have to sort of prod and peek into the gutter a little bit to read some of the dialogue early on in the run. Aside from that, I can't really complain too much about it. I think it would have been better if DC had released this in 2 volumes, but I also understand the business risk with that. People will buy the first one, maybe not the second one, and they'll have sunk a bunch of money into it. So here's a look at the binding, a little bit of the eye hole action. It does come apart really, really nicely, as opposed to the Batwoman Omni I had, which was pretty much just sticking to the spine, and it still continues to do that no matter how much I've worked it in. So I can't really complain there. I mean, it's an ambitious task to make a book this large, and thankfully binding technology and quality has come a long way since the days of the early DC Omnis that would essentially fall apart if they were this size, even half the size, honestly. But I'm really looking forward to finishing this. It looks like there's a lot of fun stuff happening in this book. I do appreciate the sort of challenge that it brings with trying to remember what's happening in each storyline and piece it all together as it unfolds. A lot of characters getting introduced to new Deathstroke readers that they may be unfamiliar with. I know I'm unfamiliar with a good number of them, and I've read a decent amount of Deathstroke in my past, but I think it's very easy to pick up for a new reader if you're looking into this as a new reader, a fan of Deathstroke in other comics that he's shown up, and you want to get a bit more intimate with the character. I think this is a great place to go. You'll learn a lot about him. You'll see how he handles various different situations, all under the penmanship of Christopher Priest and some absolutely incredible artists. I don't think I spoiled very much in this. I tried to avoid the last page cliffhangers as I was flipping through the book, but there's a lot happening here. So even without context, I don't think the spoiler images would have ruined much. But like I said, definitely a great book for new readers. Anyone who's a fan of Deathstroke, this is a must read, of course, as it leads into whatever's happening with the character in the near future in the DC universe. Take a look at the bonus content here a little bit. You get some additional promo art, some variant covers stacked together like for that crossover, some fantastic design sketches and artwork. There are a lot of different outfits and costume changes throughout this run that make it very exciting in my opinion. I know some people didn't like the Icon era, but I appreciated it. Overall, I really recommend this book. It's a solid book. It'll probably be one of the monsters sitting on your shelf, but a book that I think personally I'll be rereading often, and hopefully a book that pushes DC to make some more Deathstroke Omnis. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Check out organicpricebooks.com for basically the go-to place to get hardcovers, omnis, absolute, deluxe editions, etc. Let us know down in the comments below if you've read this run, if you'd enjoyed it, if you're looking forward to picking this book up, and anything else you want to chat about. We're always happy to talk with comic fans out there. Thank you all very much. Until next time, this is Mike from the Hardcover Comic. You stay classy, Internet.